Did any of you get a shower here this evening? We had just some very tiny hit or miss showers around Northwest Indiana, and some of those were enough to just make it even muggier outside. But a few of you got a little bit of rain, and I was just talking. Who was I talking to? Dale on our Facebook page was saying he got some rain at his house, and it wasn't our forecast. Weather Service didn't have it in the forecast, and the weather apps didn't either. We had it in our forecast yesterday for that stray afternoon shower, and we got one in spots. A lot of us did not. All right. Good Wednesday evening to you guys, everybody. Meteorologist Matt Wentz here with you. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join me here. I promise I'll make this worthwhile. We've got a lot to talk about here this evening. We've got heat first and foremost, right? Heat isn't the most fun thing to talk about. It's just numbers. But it's the most dangerous thing to talk about in terms of tornadoes and flooding and all that stuff. More people lose their lives from dangerous heat and not taking care of themselves than anything else. So I do need to give it its due diligence. We'll talk tomorrow's numbers because tomorrow's numbers are going to be the highest of the week and perhaps the summer. All right. So that may grab your attention. We'll see. We've got storms and we need them in the forecast. We need the rain. I've got some of the latest drought numbers here locally, not just on the year, not just on the summer, but really over the last couple months. And then the final thing, as we look into August, we've got a pretty good picture of how August is going to start. And I think some of you are going to like it. All right. So let's talk about that. Meanwhile, this is our bonus broadcast for our sponsors, but please support our sponsors. They support us here at Region Weather. They're amazing. Earl's Heating and Air Conditioning. Guys, if anything is wrong with your AC, I've got the company to go to right there, Earl's Heating and Air Conditioning. The website is earlsheating.com. They've been serving Northwest Indiana since 1976, so they're obviously doing something right. They have tune-up specials still. If you're, maybe you didn't get your AC tuned up, maybe you have coolant loss or it's not blowing cold enough air out, Earl's is the place to go. PSA, it's publicserviceadjusting.com. Those are public service adjusters. What's that? If you have an insurance claim on your property, that's not fun, right? Shingles blew off, need new roof, need new siding, whatever it is, tree falls on the fence. You'd go to your insurance company. Well, don't do that first. Go to PSA, it's Public Service Adjusting. They're all local, licensed, insured adjusters right here in Northwest Indiana. They'll come out, take pictures, analyze the problem right away. They'll submit that claim to your insurance company, and they'll do all the back and forth with your insurance company. You don't have to deal with your insurance company, and they'll get you more money than what your insurance would give you. They're amazing. 5-star reviews across the board. PublicServiceAdjusting.com. Romans Roofing, they're local to Hobart, service all of Northwest Indiana. They've got a great Facebook page. They're a good follow. They provide retail and storm restoration options. Roofing, not just that, though. Siding, windows, gutters, they do it all. If you've got any issues with leaks or anything like that, they'll fix it. All inspections and estimates are free, so why not get them out just to see what's going on? RomansRoofing.net or 219-838-9111. Minogue.life, the place to go. Michael Minogue is our expert in the world of life insurance, Medicare, Medicaid. He's been serving Northwest Indiana for decades. A lot of people sign up for plans on the phone. A lot of people sign up online. And they don't know what they have. And he will help sit down with you with a no-cost consultation to go over what kind of plan you have. You may have benefits you're not tapping into. You may be paying too much for life insurance. He'll help you figure all that out. Every individual's unique, and there are no two plans that are alike. He'll get your plan catered for you, could even save you money on it. Minogue.life, place to go. Great Lakes Lighting, if you need expertly placed outdoor lighting on your landscape or maybe for security purposes, you have a dark spot on your way to the garage, whatever it is, we can get that looking good. And who does that? Great Lakes Lighting does. They've been doing it for years, and they just make properties shine. Pun intended. I should probably submit that to them as a motto. Anyway, Light Up NWI is the website, lightupnwi.com, or you can go to Great Lakes Lighting on Facebook. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. She's our local lender for all your mortgage needs. She'd love to get you in a home before school starts. We can still do that. We can still make it happen. We got to hustle, though. If your dream home's on the market, turn to Kate. She's fun. She's great. She gets the work done. She's super professional, but she's also fun to work with. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgages. Kate Cusack, Home Loan Girl on Facebook. TigerPlumbing.net for all your plumbing needs. Tiger Plumbing has been our plumber here in Northwest Indiana for, they've been with us for 3 years, but they've been serving Northwest Indiana for decades. Family-owned business. They're amazing. They do great work. You can take a picture of the problem, send it to them. They come out for free, which is crazy. TigerPlumbing.net. FBIBuildings.com. If you need a new pole barn constructed, they've done over 20,000 of them in the Midwest. That's a lot. You should see their Facebook page. They do amazing work. If you have a pole barn structure, commercial, residential, that needs renovated, Yeah, they'll do that too, even if it's not theirs, or they'll build you a new one. They do great work. Maybe you've got a new business you're starting. FBIbuildings.com, place to go for that. TNT Tree Service, there are expert tree taker downers and removers. If you've got anything that looks a little sketch on your property, maybe it's leaning, got some branches that are hitting against the house, whatever it is, they can not only trim that up, but they can take trees down that are problems and are going to cause problems in a windstorm. So turn to them, the experts at TNT Tree Service. It's tttreeservice.com. 3 T's in that, TT Tree Service. Finally, last but not least, Grigors Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Valparaiso. They've been serving Northwest Indiana for decades as well. They've got brand new Jeeps ready to go. Maybe you had another kid. Maybe you've got one on the way. Need more room. They'll take care of you. Grigors on US 30 there in Valparaiso. All right, let's say hi to our early birds, and we'll jump into some material now that we've got some more people on board. Who was first? Mary was first this evening. Hi, Mary. Hope you're doing all right in this heat. Angel's with us. Good to talk to you here this evening, Angel. Jeff's with us as well. Hi, Jeff. Rich says the heat is on. It sure is. Aaron says it's so gross outside. Aaron, it is. These dew points are sky high. Holly H is joining us. Hi, Holly. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. I appreciate that. Tom says, what is a meteorological term for this? Weather stinks. Well, it's summer, late summer in Northwest Indiana. That's it. Oh, my goodness. It's just gross. Rhonda's with us. Joey, hello to you. Mary didn't get rain in Cherville. Bourbonnais, Jeff says it poured for a few minutes. Jackie wants the heat to stop. Couple sprinkles west of Valpo, says Joni. Connie says poured for about 5 minutes in Cherville, 440-ish. That's a good downpour that you got. Lauren's asking about chance of rain for Saturday. Kids outdoor party on the line. Let's cover that, Lauren. Dave's with us. Pearl's with us. Pearl says it's yucky outside. Yes, it is. Thank you for that update, Pearl. You're right. All right. We'll dive into it. Here's the satellite right now. We've got a lot going on to our north and the west. You see these explosive thunderstorms. I mean, these things are just getting cranking. Areas of Wisconsin back towards Iowa. They're exploding in areas of North Dakota, all the way down towards the west or eastern Rockies. But for us, we've got this little sliver of energy here. We had a couple downpours outside, but you'll notice if you look outside right now, there are some high clouds streaming over us. Those high clouds are off of a thunderstorm way down in Kentucky, almost at the Tennessee border. All right, the clouds over us are from a storm way down there. This storm got going, and you see this flow out of the south. It's taken that cloud up to 45, 50,000 feet. The jet stream, what little there is, or the steering flow at the mid and upper levels, is taking that from south to north. And so we get kind of the streaming clouds off of that. I thought that was kind of a neat thing to share with you guys. Outside of that, though, we've just got this little disturbance. There's this little wave right here. That's why we had a stray shower or thunderstorm in the forecast for today when we put out our 7-day forecast yesterday, because this feature kept showing up. And the feature's moving through. We've got enough humidity, and doesn't take much, but there's not much lift. We always talk about the ingredients for severe weather. We always talk about the ingredients for just storms. We don't have those ingredients right now. That's why these cells are just popping. You get a little downpour, and then it collapses. It doesn't do much. There's one of those ingredients missing in our atmosphere, and it's lift. Where is there lift? Over here in the upper Midwest. And that lift, that zone of lift along that front, is going to slowly sag south over the next couple of days, and we will get in this zone where at least we will have that almost sounded like an AutoZone commercial, didn't it? Get in the zone. Anyway, they're not a sponsor of the show, so we won't give them any time. But anyway, that front is going to sink south. So this is going to be our pattern for a couple of days. And unfortunately for the weekend birthday party, Lauren, we're going to be in this pattern on Saturday. So we are going to have some rain around. All right, let's take you through it. This is the short-term modeling. You can see the HRRR finally agreeing with maybe a couple pop-ups around. Those are going to last through just after sunset. They should start to fade. They're mainly diurnally driven or driven by that daytime heating. This mugginess doesn't go away, though. But we're going to talk about rain here because we need it. All right, eventually this frontal boundary comes in. So here's all the storms off towards the north. They fade tomorrow morning. And then what we will watch is new storm development off of those boundaries. This is what happens this time of year. And this is why this forecast on your phone and your phone apps and all that stuff changes so frequently, is because it's all based on what's happening now. And it keeps changing based on what's happening now, all right? In terms of our forecast, we're still calling for storms on the same day. So our forecast has not changed. Most local meteorologists' forecasts have not, versus your app, which continues to go crazy with 80%, 20%, 40%, right? So here's what we're going to be watching tomorrow. Whatever storms develop out towards the west tonight, those will be decaying. See this little boundary right here? This is what I mean by boundaries. As this sinks, it's still pushing a boundary or an area of wind shift towards northwest Indiana. And as a result, we're going to have a super hot day tomorrow. I mean, we're talking, some of the models are showing upper 90s, which is hot, right? We do that sometimes, but with this thick humidity this time of year, it's going to be awful if that happens. I'm going mid 90s tomorrow. I'm banking on the fact that we're going to have higher dew points than what the modeling's showing, so that keeps our temps a bit down. But it's just going to be brutal tomorrow. It really is. But in that heating of the day, we're going to watch this boundary come in, and the HRRR has a pretty good idea, saying storms blow up right over us in the afternoon. We're talking early to mid-afternoon tomorrow. Doesn't mean that's going to happen, but I would agree with wherever that boundary comes in, that's where they will pop, and these things could produce a lot of lightning in a hurry. Severe weather threats there. It's not incredibly high tomorrow, though, but we could have some good thunderstorms that pop, especially with all of the heat that we have. Our instability is going to be off the charts, like as high as it gets. We're talking 4,000 to 5,000 joules per kilogram squared, which is huge. On the Cape number, it's huge, right? So we'll be able to pop some good storms. Doesn't mean severe weather, tornadoes or anything like that. Just means you'll have some real healthy thunderstorms with good growth to them. But anyway, that'll happen in the afternoon. No telling where they're going to pop until we figure out where that boundary ends up tonight into tomorrow morning, all right? But we do know it's somewhere in and around the region as that frontal boundary sags south, all right? So good chance of storms, PM storms tomorrow. Those would likely continue into Thursday night, which is a little different. And the reason why we would inherit leftover storms as this boundary starts to kind of arc over us and stall. We want a front to stall here locally this time of year because we're so dry. So we could have a storm around here Thursday night into Friday. And then notice how that boundary is right here, arching right over the region, areas of northern Illinois and Indiana. And that will spark more storms around here on Friday. Not a washout, likely waves like this is saying, where there would be a wave, there'd be a lot of dry hours in between, and then more storm chances. But at least the chance is there. Unfortunately, that chance does continue into Saturday as well. Here's the latest drought monitor. We get a new one tomorrow morning. It will come out. It's not going to paint too pretty of a picture. Yeah, we've gotten some 1 day of downpours in the last week, but you look at the drought, and we're now talking severe drought across areas of Will County out towards Illinois. And then here locally, we've got areas in this tan. It hasn't changed much, but area in this tannest, darkest orange, whatever color you're seeing on your screen, that's where we have drought. A lot of spots still abnormally dry, which isn't technically a drought, but it's been dry. We know that. In terms of numbers, you can pull this number. It looks like something from 1980, but it gives you good information. It's from the Weather Service's website, and you can see we've got the numbers right here. This is departure from normal. Since June 1st, we go at the Porter County Airport. That's our official ops here in Northwest Indiana. We're only down an inch. We're down about 3.5 since January 1st. And if we go back beyond that, about 9 months or so, we're running even further below average, all right? And we posted that a couple weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, in terms of some of those deficits are running 4 to 6 to 7 inches below average. So we know it's been dry. We could use the rain. So let's track it here. We're going to go in the long term now. We're still focused on rain. We'll talk heat after this. But here comes your frontal boundary. Here's tomorrow on the Euro. Here's Friday on the Euro. Notice how that train track, so to speak, is right over Northwest Indiana. So at least we have the chance of storms, and we have a higher chance of rain and storms than anywhere else north or south of us, right? So that's good. How about Saturday, though? That front stays in the vicinity Saturday. Euro is kind of grabbing on to some idea of a big complex of storms or a big complex of rain that'll be moving somewhere through the region that would develop Saturday morning. We'll see if that holds true. But either way, we've got a real good rain chance on Saturday as another wave of low pressure rotates along that frontal boundary. So we really could get some good soaking rain out of this. I hope it happens. I really do. Sunday, here you go. Notice the front is now east and south, but the Euro keeping this isolated pop-up chance in here. We could have some lingering showers around here on Sunday. I wouldn't count on it, but if you do have plans on Sunday, then I would count on it. We always want to err on the side of worse than better. And then on Monday, we develop this newer pattern, and the Euro continues to hint at some kind of complex of storms dropping around this ridge of heat. That's that ring of fire pattern. Some kind of complex of storms dropping south out of Wisconsin. It's had that for a couple of days now. We'll see if that holds, but that would continue with another rain chance coming in here on Monday. And then next week, we develop into a cooler pattern once we get to midweek with this front right here. This will drop our temperatures and it'll bring in comfortable but dry weather all the way through the following weekend to start off August. All right. I can't believe it's going to be August already. So you see how we're dry for a while there. So really, we need our rain to fall over the next 5 days or so. All right. That's really our best chance of rain here in the extended. How much rain is the Euro hinting? Well, this isn't always accurate because, again, it's thunderstorms and they don't fall evenly this time of year. But I just want to show you some of the numbers coming in. I mean, this is promising. We're in a good spot on the map where at least the best chance of rain across the country right now is centered over Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. All right. So we'll take that. That's positive news for our gardens, our lawns, which are just crispy right now. Not positive news for the fair. I know we've got the Jasper County and the Porter County fairs right now. They always get rain at some point. We're certainly going to be dealing with that the next couple days. All right, let's transition to heat, okay? Here's the dome of heat. This is the ridge that's responsible for the hot conditions today. It's going to be responsible for the heat tomorrow as well. This is the same one that is over the desert Southwest at times, right? Sometimes it lets loose. I always call it the heat Roomba, where it kind of goes away from its little pod for a while. It kind of explores the eastern U.S. and it goes back. Well, it's out of its base right now, and it's right over areas of Tennessee. All right, that brings us some of the hottest conditions here locally. However, here we go. Ridge builds in tomorrow, and then watch how it starts to back down, albeit slowly, and it'll head back towards the west. Into early next week, there are signs that it builds. That doesn't mean we get incredibly hot around here. The worst of it should be south of us. This will develop that ridge rider pattern, though, where you get these storms that develop in the northern plains and roll along it. We've been talking about that for some time. We kind of got into it over last weekend. We'll be back to it again for a couple days. And then watch this chunk of air come out of Canada. All right, I know it doesn't look like much, but this is a big change in our air mass here where the heat is going to go back, or that Roomba is going to go back to its base out in the Four Corners region. And we're going to get a shot of cooler air in here to start August. And that looks to last for several days before that heat likely makes a return. So what's that mean in terms of dew points? All right, this is how muggy we feel. Those dew points are sky high. That 82-degree dew point was from the LaPorte Airport, LaPorte County Airport, municipal airport. And that, I mean, that's an incredible number. We have dew points area-wide that are 76, 77, 78. This is as thick and as humid as it gets any other time of the year. And in terms of those higher dew points, they're going to stick around as we go throughout the day tomorrow as well. Tomorrow's going to be ultra muggy. We're looking ultra muggy on Friday here as well. Saturday, still muggy. Sunday, still muggy. I mean, look at all this terrain, all this real estate that's going to be super humid into the weekend and the beginning of next week. But here come the changes, all right? Front arrives by the middle and the latter half of next week. And look at these dew points come down to fall-like levels, perhaps. Hopefully this will hold. The models have been pretty consistent showing that August 1st, once that hits, all of a sudden it turns comfortable around here. And this has some staying power to it where these low dew points stick around all next weekend. So it's to be August 2nd and 3rd, looking pretty comfortable outside. In terms of temperatures, you see what also happens. The Euro bringing us down into the mid-70s with lows in the 50s every night. To me, that's picture-perfect weather. I know it's summertime. We're used to the 80s and 90s, but this is a nice shot of air to end July and then especially to begin August as it looks right now. Until then, the Euro coming in a little bit low on this heat tomorrow. I've got us in the mid-90s. It's lowered us to 90, so we'll see what happens in terms of that forecast. But either way, ultra muggy tonight, tomorrow. That heat advisory continues. We'll likely have heat indices tomorrow, 105 plus. All right, that's summertime. I get it. I got a snarky comment, and I've got a lack of sleep here. I think I have 2 hours in me from the last 24 hours. I just didn't sleep last night, so I got a snarky comment that says, "Have you ever been on planet Earth? This is called summertime." And I always have to give these precursors saying, because of people like that, that I have to say, I know it's summertime, but here's some hot numbers, right? These are the numbers. Do with it what you want. I understand it's summertime. I get it. Trust me, all right? But my job is to report some of these numbers and give you guys the weather forecast, and that's what I'm doing, okay? So that's what we're doing here. But how about that? Early August, feeling pretty good around here. So there's that. All right. If you've got questions, go ahead, throw them in the chat, whether it be on our YouTube channel or whether it be on Facebook Live. I would be happy to answer those for you. But in terms of, the Saturday plans, I know Lauren was asking, about the kids' birthday party. We're going to have some storms around. We'll have a good idea of storm timing. And I'm not saying this to be lazy or to be inaccurate, but Saturday morning is when we're going to have a good idea of when those storms move through during the day Saturday. And again, it's all hinges on what happens Friday in this pattern. Most patterns, we can predict when a front's going to move through, when a low pressure moves through. This isn't that. These are pop-up storms that often rely on boundaries from the day before. All right. So wherever the storms go Friday, however, much energy they take out of the atmosphere, that's what will determine what happens Saturday. And until then, we can just look at models. The models usually don't have a good handle on it, though, so I'm not going to put my faith in them, okay? So there's that. Let's see. David says, hi, David. David says, would it be good to go to the Porter County Fair on Saturday? Well, David, we're going to have rain and storms around. It's not, you're going to be able to thread the needle on that this weekend. So there'll be some kind of round of storms at some point. There'll be pop-ups at another point, kind of like the weekend we just got done with, right? Where we had a round of rain and then we had many dry hours in between as we waited for that atmosphere to recover. David, that's going to be the same thing. So just stay tuned to the forecast. Make sure that you have a radar app on you. We'll have posts, obviously. I know there's weekend stuff going on, and so I get it. So we have posts, Saturday morning to make sure you're up to speed and all that stuff. We'll have you going on that. So just stay tuned to the forecast. We'll be okay. Let's see. Reedmo is flying out to Phoenix for the week. That's where the heat is going, Reedmo. It's going back over to Phoenix. But you're flying out Monday night. Yeah, it just depends on that complex of storms whenever that decides to hit, or if it decides to hit. But there'll be something to watch on Monday, though. It's not going to be a relaxed atmosphere here locally. Have a safe trip. Terry says, tired of the humidity. When are we going to get the relief? Yeah, ready for fall. I know. We're getting there. We're getting a little – I know summer's still going. Some of you really like summer, but some of us are getting that itch for fall a little bit too. And we just did the story on the news this morning about, or it was yesterday, Starbucks is doing their fall drinks, pumpkin spice lattes, if you're a fan. I'm not really too much of a fan of those. But anyway, they're doing that in a couple weeks. Ooh, isn't that crazy? And I know the stores have fall stuff out. There's Halloween stuff out already. But yeah, Terry, in terms of relief, right here, you're looking at it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday of next week, looking pretty good. All right, I'm going to go back to this cool satellite. Let's see. Jeff says, my daughter flying back from Tampa Friday morning at 6:15. How does it look? Jeff, let's look for you, buddy. So we'll go to Tampa. Let me go big picture here. And we'll just do a couple clicks here. All right. So Tampa, they have kind of a hybrid tropical system moving through now. I know they've got a lot of rain. That's going to push out into the Gulf, though. So you said Friday morning. So Tampa, just your daily showers and storms around there. They should have an okay flight through Atlanta, through Tennessee. Looks good. Couple bumps there. They'll have some good uplift. Once they fly there, they'll probably get to Atlanta, North Georgia around 7:30, 7-ish probably, 7:30. Anyway, they'd have some bumpy air there, and then we'll have to watch whatever's left over. But that's probably the best time to fly, Jeff. The reason why is because we don't have daytime heating quite realized yet. So some of those bigger storms that produce the uplift or delays, those would likely not be formed yet. So it looks okay. Florida's going to be dealing with more rain in the Panhandle on Friday than anywhere else. So there's that. Rich saw my post this morning. So I couldn't sleep last night, and it was like, and it's always a battle every night. Sometimes I sleep well, and this happens with all morning show folks, right? We're up 2 a.m., which is just backwards. And last night, I went to bed and a little late, and I just couldn't sleep. My brain was going, and I said, you know what? I'm going to lay in bed for the next 3 hours and just complain about not being able to sleep, or I'm going to get up and do something. And so I got up like 11:30 from not sleeping and started cleaning the house. And I got the carpet cleaner out and I cleaned and did the basement carpet, our little play area down here. It's my office too. And did the dishes and folded the laundry, and I felt great. And I went to work, 2:30. And so, I had the carpet cleaner ready, and I said, well, at work in the weather center, the carpet's disgusting. I mean, we got it installed probably 6 or 7 years ago, and I don't think anyone's cleaned it. I vacuum it every now and then. We have cleaning folks at the station, but I don't think they do the weather center. And there was just like stains. It was just gross. So anyway, Rich saw my post this morning. I posted it on my Instagram and Facebook that I was carpet cleaning. And Rich, I'm so proud of it. It looks so good in that weather center. And it's just great. It's like a new carpet. So yes, I do not travel with that thing, though. That's funny. I don't do windows either. Dave, you're absolutely welcome. Dale has a question. Hey, Matt, do you think we'll have a warmer than average fall? Dale, it's trending that way. What I'm seeing in some of the longer term models, and again, I don't place much faith in those, but what I'm seeing is that yeah, we're going to have a warmer than average fall around here, and some of that hinges actually on our drought that we have ongoing. Whenever you have a drought, it tends to breed heat. This summer, we haven't really seen that. We've got the dry conditions out towards the west, but we've got more humidity. Typically, it takes humidity down a little bit because you don't have as much coming out of the ground. But from what I'm seeing, there's a lot of different things that you can look at, a lot of different variables. It's not just El Nino, La Nina, but I do see a warmer than average fall as of right now. So we'll see what happens. Our growing seasons have seemed to get a little bit longer around here. Everything seems to be kind of shifted where we have cooler springs that linger longer, and then we have a warmer end of summer, which carries into fall, which really fall has been seemingly going through November at this point in terms of the warmer conditions. I mean, I don't mean on a calendar. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Catherine, you're welcome. Holly is traveling down to Marion, Indiana on Saturday. Yeah, just rainy as of now, Holly. I mean, that boundary is going to be here, so there'll be some storms embedded in it. But we'll just have to see. But yeah, I'm not seeing any like powerhouse severe storms or anything like that Saturday morning. Afternoon might get a little dicey. So there's that. Adrian, same for you in St. Joe, Michigan. Yeah. So in St. Joe, the storm chance is going to be a little bit less on Saturday because that boundary is going to be more so over Indiana. So your chance is down a little bit. Not much, though. You're not far enough away. Marcy asking about rip currents on Friday. That's interesting, Marcy. I haven't checked that. Anytime our wind turns out of the north, we have rip currents and they're pretty bad, especially if we have a strong wind out of the north. So let's look. I'm just going to check for you. I know that front will be here, but I don't think there's a ton of wind with it. All right, so here's the modeling here. This is Friday. Yeah, there's not a ton of wind on Friday, Marcy. And so let's check and see what direction we're coming from here. I mean, if that front is south of us, yeah, the front will be south of us, so there will be a northerly component to the wind on Friday. So there would probably be a low risk of rip currents with that. It all depends on the speed of the wind, and the speed of the wind doesn't look out of control on Friday at this point. It's Thursday, that's our breezy day, tomorrow being Thursday, because we've got such warm air. And then once that front goes through, see how our wind kind of turns out of the north here Friday. So low end rip current risk is what I'm looking at right now. All right, Jeff, you're welcome. Donna says even my dogs are dragging. Yeah, everyone is. It's crazy. Will do, Angel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Rich, you're welcome as well. All right, guys, we'll let you go here on this Wednesday evening. I hope your week's going well. Just stay hydrated. Again, tomorrow, uber hot outside. And then we're going to have humidity all through the weekend, but at least the temperatures are going to be, mid 90s, upper 90s here into the weekend. We'll have temps that scale back into the 80s, but we'll have the rain and humidity around. So keep your eyes, if you don't like the humidity, keep your eyes on that extended forecast and take a look at early August. Very last day of July in early August, we should get a nice shot of some drier air in here. We'll have more on that in the days to come. All right, regionweather.com. If you're not signed up for the daily emails, we send those out every morning. It's a personalized note from me with a graphic, usually just once a day unless there's something big going on. But make sure you sign up for that. It's on regionweather.com. Right-hand side of the screen, you'll see sign up for daily emails. I don't sell your information or anything like that. You plug in your email, and you'll get the emails in the mornings in your inbox, all right? It's not from an app. It's from me. And then also, we're on the radio side of things, X-Rock 103.9, Indiana 105.5, Z 107.1. Make sure you say hi to them. Adams Radio as you're out at the area fairs, all right? They're at Porter County this week, so there's that. All right, you guys have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon, okay? All right, bye.